Last week, when ESPN released their report about the NBA not finding anything on Kawhi or the Clippers released a statement fighting back hard against this entire investigation. And honestly, when you actually read it closely, it tells you a lot about where this whole situation might be heading. So basically, they are not going down without a real fight, and that's worth digging into. In this video, we're diving into the Clippers' actual statement from last week, responding to ESPN's report, breaking down exactly what they're arguing and why their defense actually lines up with something that should matter a lot to us, that Kawhi himself really shouldn't be the one facing any punishment here. Before we get into it, quick shout out to our channel, Unlimited Hoops Canada. We're closing in on our next subscriber milestone on this channel of 3,000 subs. And honestly, reading through official statements like this one is exactly the kind of deep dive I love doing on this channel. We've been putting out daily uploads trying to keep up with every twist. So if you're not subscribed yet, hit that button, turn on notifications so you don't miss a single thing, because there's real substance in this one worth breaking down. All right, so let's dive into it. Here's the context first. This all came after ESPN reported that the NBA has found no evidence that Clippers owner Steve Balmer funneled money through team sponsors to pay Kawhi and circumvent the salary cap. In response to that story, the Clippers put out a real statement making their position clear. They said the team introduced players, including Kawhi, to companies they had business relationships with, and argued that making those kinds of introductions is standard practice across the league, something players and their representatives commonly ask for. From there, according to the statement, Kawhi and his own representatives handled the actual negotiations on any endorsement deals, and the team said it did not negotiate or dictate those terms. They also said they chose sponsors and business partners based on normal business considerations and specifically denied overpaying any vendor or offering favorable terms just to funnel extra money to Kawhi. And I think it's pretty clear reading that statement exactly what the Clippers are trying to do here. They're trying to draw a hard line between what the team did, which they say was simply making introductions a completely normal and allowed practice around the league, and what happened after that, which they say was entirely between Kawhi and his own representatives. Basically, their argument boils down to this. If anybody actually crossed a line here, it wasn't the team deciding what Kawhi got paid. It was whatever happened in those private negotiations, which the Clippers claim they had zero involvement in. Whether the league buys that argument is obviously still an open question, since the investigation has reportedly shifted toward examining exactly how those introductions were handled and whether the team properly supervised them. But here's the part that actually matters most for us as Raptors fans. If the Clippers' entire defense is built around the idea that the team, not Kawhi, is the one who potentially crossed a line here, that's actually a pretty encouraging framing for us. Remember, the investigation has already reportedly found no evidence of an actual funneling scheme through Balmer directly. Now, the Clippers themselves are publicly arguing that any wrongdoing, if it exists at all, sits with how the organization handled these introductions and its own internal oversight, not with anything Kawhi personally did wrong. If that's genuinely how this shakes out, the team facing whatever penalty comes down while Kawhi himself walks away largely clean, that is about the best possible outcome for us given everything that's happened over the past year. And it makes sense that the Clippers are fighting this hard too. They clearly don't want a real punishment coming their way. And who would? Draft pick forfeitures, fines, the embarrassment of a league-wide scandal with their name attached. None of that is something any organization wants hanging over their franchise. So of course they're pushing back publicly and trying to frame this in the most favorable light possible for themselves. That's exactly what you'd expect a team in their position to do. Here's a question I want to hear your thoughts on in the comments. After reading through the Clippers' actual statement, do you think their defense holds up? And does it make you feel any better knowing their own argument points the blame away from Kawhi specifically? I think this is worth actually discussing in detail rather than just reacting to headlines. We've been tracking every single piece of this saga from the beginning, and I think statements like this one are exactly the kind of thing worth slowing down and reading closely, because the specific wording actually tells you a lot about where each side thinks this is heading. The Clippers clearly believe they have a real defense here, and if their framing holds up, that's genuinely good news for us. Look, no matter how this shakes out for the Clippers organization, the framing in their own statement lines up with what we've been hoping for all along, that Kawhi himself doesn't end up taking the fall for something that, by the team's own account, was really about how the organization handled its own business relationships. Appreciate everybody pulling up for this one, as always. If this deep dive helped clear things up, do me a favor and hit subscribe so you don't miss it as more of this plays out. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Does the Clippers defense actually make sense to you? Until next time, I'm signing off. Cheers. Before we wrap things up, I just want to say thank you for watching and for being part of the Unlimited Hoops Canada community. Whether you've been here since day one or this is your very first video, we truly appreciate every single one of you. Our goal has always been simple: create the best place on YouTube for Toronto Raptors fans and Canadian basketball fans. No clickbait for the sake of it, no pointless drama, just honest conversations, in-depth analysis, breaking news, trade discussions, player breakdowns, NBA draft coverage, and everything happening across the Canadian basketball landscape. This is more than just a Raptors channel. It's a community of basketball fans who love talking hoops, debating the biggest storylines, celebrating the highs, and surviving the lows together. Whether the Raptors are chasing a championship, developing young talent, making a blockbuster trade, or rebuilding for the future, we'll be here covering it every step of the way. And it doesn't stop with the Raptors. We're passionate about Canada basketball as a whole. From the senior men's and women's national teams to our rising stars in the NBA, NCAA, and youth basketball, we'll continue shining a spotlight on Canadian players making an impact around the world. Canadian basketball has never been stronger, and we're excited to follow this incredible journey with all of you. If you enjoyed today's video, the biggest thing you can do to support the channel is hit that like button. It tells YouTube that you enjoyed the content and helps us reach more basketball fans across Canada and around the world. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. We upload consistently, covering breaking Raptors news, trade rumors, free agency, game analysis, draft content, off-season moves, Canada basketball updates, and plenty more throughout the year. We also want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree with today's take? What would you do if you were running the Raptors? Which Canadian players should we talk about next? We read the comments every day, and many of our future videos are inspired by the conversations happening right here in this community. Finally, if you know another Raptors fan or someone who loves Canadian basketball, share this video with them. Word of mouth is one of the biggest reasons channels like ours continue to grow, and every share genuinely helps. Thank you again for spending part of your day with us. We never take your time or support for granted. Until next time, this is Unlimited Hoops Canada, and as always, keep supporting Canadian basketball, keep believing in the Toronto Raptors, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care, everyone.